Hello, Bells Up Studio. I am Lacey and welcome to today's set. It should take you about 20 or 30 minutes to finish this completed set today. I'm gonna walk you through the movements and kind of talk about what's to come as we do a warm-up together. You do not need a weight for the warm-up today, but I want you to check the description section for this session today to make sure that you have everything that you need to complete this class. Well, after the warm-up, we're gonna go through kind of a second helping of a warm-up to get our heart rates up, and then we'll hit our sets, which include double rack squats, strict presses, and some single arm swings with a weight that might be pretty challenging for you. We're doing low rep for those, so I want you to pick up something that really makes you work for it today. So let's go ahead and get started in our set. We're gonna take 2 rounds through the movements that we're doing right now. I want you to find a side plank position. So we're gonna go for shoulder over the elbow, elbow in line with the wrist, top hip is over bottom hip, and we're gonna start by lifting here and then lifting ourselves up. You're then gonna lift your top leg. I want you to flex your foot so your toes point to you, and then try to hit your knee with your top knee without moving your hips, and then lift that leg up. We're gonna take side plank clamshells here for 10 reps in place. If you don't hit quite 10, that is okay. This is gonna take us around 20 seconds to do. You have another chance to do this side when we go through this warm up one more time. I'm about to finish up my 10 reps here, so just keep moving through this. And again, try to think of something balanced on your top hip. Once you hit that 10th, or finish with me, bring your hips down. Let's go ahead, flip ourselves to the other way. So we're warming our hips up for our squats today. Let's go ahead, stack our hips, push down, find your oblique before you lift. Think of pulling your booty through, lifting your chest, and then lifting that leg. We'll go for those 10 here. So today when we do our double rack squats, we have sort of a high rep count, but I've broken up the reps for you. So that means that we're taking 10 reps, but they're not gonna be consecutively done. So you can go a little bit heavy. So I want you to pick up some weights that you can at least lift for 6 reps continuously. Try to make them that heavy. There are some options for you to do dumbbells or kettlebells today in this class. Just want to make sure that you have a kettlebell for your single arm swings. Let's go ahead and bring our hips down. We're now going to take some alternating scorpions. So you're going to lay on your chest here with your arms out to the side. I'm going to keep my head up briefly so I don't crush my microphone, but you're going to have your forehead on the ground like this with your arms out to the sides. And then you're just going to take one toe, bring it over, and then roll the other way. So notice my head is moving with me. I still want to think of pulling my hips through as I do this. So let's go ahead and hit your 10. That was 2 there. We'll go 3. Look down towards the floor. 4. Your eyes can kind of lift as you turn to your sides. So breathe through this. We'll go 7. Head down. 8, really reach with your toe. 9, try to get some length, try to get some movement. And 10, ladies, if that is not comfortable on your chest, just lift your head up a little bit slightly or place your hands here and try not to crush the girls. Okay, we're gonna go for some down dog to up dogs. So all this is, we're gonna stick our booty up in the air with bent knees and then roll ourselves forward into an upward facing dog. So let's go ahead and hit those. So we're gonna start in a down dog position. Bend your knees, your heels can kind of come towards the floor. Then we're gonna pull ourselves through, raise ourselves up to an upward facing dog. You do not have to tuck your toes under here. In the down dog, I want you to bend your knees and think about those hips lifting up. So we're gonna think, bend the knees, hips up, ears in line with your inner part of your arm, so kind of your bicep. As you go down, try not to just plop your hips down to the floor here. We want to think of almost moving with some fluidity, keeping a little squeeze in the booty. Whew, just lost my mic. Let's take about 3 more of those on your own. And you know, sometimes the mic is just a little casualty. I think it's actually a symptom of this particular bra. Go ahead, take 3 of those on your own, and then we're gonna do this whole thing one more time. We're gonna breeze through our side planks. We're gonna hit those alternating scorpions and a few more of those down dog to up dog, making sure that we kind of keep our head in the game here as we keep moving. Let's go ahead, come onto your side. You're gonna take your first side for those side plank clamshells. Go ahead, set yourself up. Lift here and then kind of, so today you are also strict pressing. So when we strict press,
I want you to think about making your full body feel like a plank. You're really gonna think of your body feeling nice and tight as you push the weight up. Quick reminder for these ones, we're going usually for about an RPE 8 level in this class or in our sessions here. So what that means is I want you to think of as many reps as you could do with the weight you have today. I want you to try to be able to do 2 more. So if the rep count says 5 today, which it does, let's go ahead and switch our side. This should be a weight that you could probably press for 7 reps. At the very least, you could press it for 6 reps. 5 should not feel like an absolute max for that weight today. So that's a good way for you to understand what's going on with rate of perceived exertion. Really try to reach that knee down, reach that side up. So we're gonna be taking single side strict presses. You can do those with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. You're also going to have the single arm swings, like I said, which need to be with a kettlebell. Finish up your last couple reps there in your side plank clamshells. We're gonna hit one more side, those alternating scorpions. So go ahead, come on down to your chest. So for my ladies, again, if it's a little too much, you can kind of lift your chest here and have your head here so you're not quite as far down to the floor if you're crushing the girls. So go ahead, hit those side to side touches, and knees can start to speed up just a little bit. We can make them feel kind of athletic here, really getting our hips nice and juicy for the squats that are coming up today. Go ahead and take maybe 2 more total of these alternating scorpions. That should be feeling really nice right about now. And let's hit one more set of these down dogs to up dogs. Go ahead, come into a plank position, feet come out. I'm gonna push ourselves back, roll ourselves forward, drop the hips again. You can stay on your tiptoes. This time when you come into the up dog, I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades back. As you do this, you can really bend your knees if that downward dog position is uncomfortable for you. If your calves feel tight, you can just hang out in the back and pedal those feet out a little bit more. Let's take about 5 more reps here together. So we'll drop the hips, pull it back for 1. Hips go back. Roll through it. 2, squeeze the shoulder blades together, push down. Roll through it again. 3, 4, start noticing what feels a little bit tight for you today. Last one for 5, roll those hips through, push the hands down. You can bend the knees down. That concludes our warm-up set. So make sure, again, you have your equipment ready, because the next set we're gonna start practicing some squats at tempo. We're gonna work single arm, and then we're gonna hit maybe some lighter single arm swings for you before we get into those heavy sets later. Your next set is a 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off interval. You're gonna work for 30, rest for 30, and we only have 2 rounds of this. It's meant to get your heart rate up and give you some practice squatting and single arm swinging. You're going to be squatting with a bell on one side for a 3-second down tempo, then switch to the other side for the same thing. Your single arm swings are a rep count of 7. If that feels like too much for you to do both sides in that 30-second window, you're just gonna cut your reps a little bit. This might be one weight down from the one that you use later on when we go a little heavy for those single arm swings. So we're gonna start this out. Let's go ahead, grab your kettlebell. You're gonna rack it on one side. We're gonna take 3 seconds down and powerful up on that phase of your squats. Heel wedges are also an option if that works a little bit better for you. So go ahead, bring your bell in front of you. You can swing clean this, or you can dead stop clean this, whichever you prefer. Also, a dumbbell friendly set for your squats. Let's go ahead, start in 3, 2, and 1. So we're facing our toes forward. We're gonna hit it 3, 2, 1. Push for the center parts of the feet to come up. 3, 2, 1, and up. Little trick, you can cradle your bell if you feel like the bell is kind of pulling you forward or you're not able to balance yourself very well. Arm out in front of you is my favorite way to keep your shoulders squared to the front as you squat. Toes can be slightly forward or slightly facing out. You want to try not to roll to one side. You're here for 3, 2, and 1. Kettlebell comes down or dumbbell comes down. Use this time to shake it out. You're gonna get to go for your second side. Remember, we wanna try to stay as even as we can in the hips. So resisting leaning towards that side of the unweighted portion of your bod. So you wanna try to really push into the foot of the kettlebell side. This is your time to figure out your foot placement for your squats, figure out what feels nice, and also get a little core control work in here. Let's go ahead and hit your second side. 3, 2, and 1. Remember, we only have 2 rounds of this before we start our actual sets today, where we're going a little higher rep for our squats. We're hitting some strict presses, and we're going for some single arm swings. Try not to bottom out in your squats. We don't want to go 3, 2, 1, lose tension. We want to think of staying tense at the bottom and pushing hard to come up. So it's 3, 2, 1, shoot your hips forward, almost like you would a swing. Bell comes down in 3, 2, and 1. A few tips for your single arm swings before we start. You want to make sure that your shoulders are always facing forward. You're not switching your side, or looking to the side, I should say, as you swing, so we're not rotating here. If this is too much for you, you can go ahead and take 2-hand kettlebell swings. Both hands on your bell as a modification. Up to 10 reps there. You will want to go a little heavier in your weight if that is what you're going to take today. You'll also substitute those 2-hand swings later in class. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. My ribs are stacked. My hips go back. I'm keeping my shoulders forward, hitting my 7-rep count of swings, punching my opposite arm, and really reaching with my back side. When you get to your rep 7, you can switch in the air or set your bell down. This set is going to take you right to the end. So you're not going to get a lot of extra rest here. You might get just a few seconds after your 7 reps, resting in 3, 2, and 1. If you didn't quite get 7 and 7 in, that's okay. You can bleed into the rest break just a little bit on the next round, and if that rep count felt like a little bit too much for you, just shave a few off. That's what we do here. This is just your warm-up, taking inventory in your body, seeing how you feel today. We have your single arm squats coming up next. I do want to say, big proponent of heel wedges, so elevating up your heels with wedges. We've used those in Bells Up Studio classes before. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. The reason we might choose those for squats is because we want the weight to be in this part of our foot, the sole of our foot, as we push and load. You don't want to be sitting too far back in your heels because it might force your butt to go back like this in a hinge. We want to think of pushing through the center part of the feet to keep the chest up, bending at the knees to sit our booties down towards the floor versus back towards the wall. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, take your rest break here. When you squat, dominated by your knees, think about that. When you bend them, your butt's going to go down. When you hip hinge, so think hips. Hips are going back towards the wall. Chest is going to come forward more in that case. So in the squat, if your chest is up, and if you can see directly in front of you, you're probably doing it right there. Let's go ahead and hit your second side. Clock is on here in 3, 2, and 1. If you're a little more advanced level, this can honestly be done a little heavier, but you want to make sure that you're still taking this at a pace and an intensity that feels like a warm-up, because we want to start getting these patterns emphasized here. We want to start making sure that we feel good in our hips. We're not leaning. You don't want to sort of take everything away and leave nothing left for your actual session today. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and rest. Bell comes down. When we do our sets, we're going to go through them together for 4 rounds today. We're going to make them a little quick. There isn't a ton of rest break in between our sets. If you need more rest, you're just going to pause this video, take your rest, and then join it again. You can always follow the written version of the program too, to sort of go at your own pace through your sets. The sets are not timed like this today, they're by rep. Okay, here we go. Clock is on for your swings. 3, 2, and 1. Hips go back. Switch in the air or switch on the floor. Back arm should be grazing your body. Once you finish that 7th rep, go ahead and set your bell down. Clock is off for 30 in 3, 2, and 1. Catch your breath a little bit, grab some water. Again, make sure you have your equipment for your squats, your presses, your single arm swings, which should be a little heavier than that set. We're gonna get started for our working sets of our strength and power intervals next. Okay, so this is how it's gonna work for our sets today. You're doing 4 sets of 5, 3, 2 double rack squats. We're gonna hit 5, take 20 to 30 seconds rest in between, and then hit the next set of 3 and then 2, so it's 10 total. That little break time is to give you a tiny rest from the bell, so I want this to be heavy. You then have 5 strict presses left and right. Remember, this should be a set of bells, or I should say a bell of a certain kind, kettle or dumb, that you can press at least 7 times each side. Then we're gonna hit 5 single arm swings. These are more for power with a heavy weight today. So pick up something a little heavier than what you just did single arm swings with. So let's go ahead and get our bells out for these squats. We're going to pick both of them up. Mine are mismatched. Don't let that freak you out. If yours are the same, you're just gonna flip them the second round. We're doing this 4, remember, nice even number. Try to make them the same if you can. Let's go ahead and start it out. Clock is on here, 3, 2, and 1 for your 5 reps to start. So we're kind of hitting our maybe hardest rep set. Ideally, you are a little out of breath by that 5th rep. We're gonna bring the feet out. You want to use a swing style clean for momentum to pick your bells up. We're gonna take about 30 seconds rest here after the 5 set, just to give ourselves time to catch our breaths. My bells are teaching weight. These are not that heavy for me. I want yours to feel like they take your breath away a little bit, like you couldn't have a really good conversation like I'm sort of able to do here with you guys once you've lifted them. I want it to feel a little challenging for you to talk after that first set of 5. We're gonna go for our 3 and then 2 set. Next, we're only gonna take 20 seconds after the 3 set to rest before the 2. Then we're gonna move kind of quickly into those presses and single arm swings. Let's go ahead and hit our set of 3 reps in 3, 2, and 1. Little trick to lift your elbows slightly here. You don't want your weights resting on your shoulders, especially if they are your dumbbells. You want your elbows to be slightly up or connected to the body. 20 seconds to shake it out and rest here again. I want you to feel like your heart rate is beating a little bit. If it's not, you need to up your weight. That weight's probably a little too easy for you. Just watch that your knees aren't caving in, that you're able to keep your chest up, that you're not hinging your hips back. Let's hit those final 2 reps, guys. Come into position for your clean. 3, 2, 1. Bells come up, feet come a little bit close. Breathing in on the way down as your hips descend, bells come to the floor. We're gonna rest here about 30 seconds together, and then I want you to hit your 5 reps per side of your strict press. You're going to bring the bell to the floor between your sides. It's really important that you take time and put a little energy into having a really solid, clean position. So we're not gonna switch hand to hand after the presses for this set today. I want you to practice setting it down and then re-racking your bell for that second side. Okay, when we do this, body is a plank. We're pushing ourselves to the floor. We're gonna slightly lean into the hip of the side that we're working today. Okay, let's go ahead and go after it. Hips come back, 3, 2, 1. Bell comes into the rack. Try not to move your feet. You're gonna give me 5 strong presses with a weight that might challenge you for 7 reps. Eye gaze can go up slightly. I do not want you to arch your back here to make that happen. Eye gaze can also be slightly in front of you here in this set. Roll your shoulders back once you finish your 5. Take about 10-15 seconds to kind of gather your thoughts, evaluate how that press felt, and then pop it up for your second set. I'm gonna go ahead and do that here. When I clean, I wanna make sure I land with my elbow connected to my body. I'm squeezing into the handle of that kettlebell, pushing my feet down, breathing out as I go up, and watching that I'm not lifting my rib cage up to make that happen. We want to try to keep control in this part of our bod, not lift from here. It's okay if you move over to press, but you don't want to be lifting and opening this to do that. Okay, take your little rest break here. I know these strength set parts, they might feel a little uncomfy because we're moving through them pretty quickly, but you are getting, a decent amount of rest break for the rep count that you're doing with the weights that you're doing. Next up, I want 5 really tight and heavy single arm swings for you. Advanced people, this means that your bell should be big. This should be a challenging weight for you to hold, something that makes you move your hips fast, even though the bell is heavy. Remember, you can regress these all the way down to a 2-hand swing. Let's go ahead, hit 5 and 5 here. 3, 2, and 1. After that 5th one, you can catch in the air. If your bell is really heavy and that catch in the air does not feel doable for you, I want you to bring your bell to the floor. You can set it down and then regroup yourself to catch your bell. Okay, we're gonna take a little rest here. That was just about 5.5 minutes of work, including the rest breaks. Remember, we're gonna go through 3 more sets of this. The way to make this session more difficult is to add an extra round for yourself. You can also take some equipment upgrades, maybe using a barbell to do your squats instead of using kettlebells or dumbbells. So know that you can do that. You can also shave off a round if you get up into 3 and we're like, okay, this rep count is high for me. I feel challenged. That's all I got today. Then that's what I want you to do. Remember, we have a decent amount of reps in our squats. And even though the presses are only 20 each side, if it's in that RP8 level weight, that's gonna feel pretty challenging. Okay, 10 seconds, we're gonna go back to our squats. Remember, if you have mismatched weights like I do, you wanna go ahead and switch those at this point so we stay even. Let's go ahead, pick your bells up. 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead, sit it down. Remember, 5 reps. Feet come out if you need them to. I squat a little narrow, so I have to kind of move my feet in that clean. All good if you have to do the same. We're gonna take just about 30 seconds here to have a little bit of a rest break, and then we'll go for our 3-rep set, followed by that 2-rep set. As we go through this, I'm gonna challenge you with a little less rest between those 3 and 2 sets here. Roll the shoulders back. Let's go ahead and get ready to take that 3-rep set, guys. Here we go. Let's go ahead, bring yourself behind your bells. Roll the shoulders back a little bit. Hips come back. 3, 2, and 1. Finish strong in those squats. Should be feeling plenty warm at this point in your set. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth, roll the shoulders back just a little bit. We have our set of 2 coming in hot right here. So go ahead, start getting yourself into position in your clean. I want these squats to feel like they have some pop today. Get your booty off the floor. Move faster than you think you can. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Remember, if you need to move your feet a little, make that happen fast. Bells come down in front of you. Take your break. 30 seconds. We're gonna move into our strict presses. 2nd round, and just like that, you are halfway through your sets. Once we finish those single arm swings, we're gonna try to move into our swings kind of soon after we do our presses in this set. So just be ready for that to happen. We'll rest a little bit more after those single arm swings. Okay. Bell should be in front of you. Let's go ahead, get ready. Remember, swing cleaning up into the rack position. Strong press to the top, up to 5 reps here. 3, 2, and 1. Pull that bell down to the rack with authority. Don't waste any strength on that down phase. I want you to feel ultimate tension as your bell goes up. Always remember, pressing is just a plank position. We want to feel like we are bringing that bell up with a strong and tight bod. There's no limpness, there's no lack of tension in this one. Those 5 presses should be coming to a close each side. We're gonna hit our 5 single arm swings next. Again, roll your shoulders back. I say that a lot, but we wanna try to relax in our neck and in our shoulders through these movements. Okay, guys, let's attack these swings. I want them to have some pep here. Nice, big, explosive hips in your single arm swing. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Bell comes down to the floor, shake it out, take your break in your set. You are halfway through, so this is where you start making some decisions. Do you have one more round of this in you? Can you hang on for those 2 more? And if you want to layer on an extra, you're all good to do that. I would say don't go more than 5 today. If you are going heavy enough, that should be plenty with this lineup in your sets. Okay, let's go ahead and come into position. Get ready for your squats. We're gonna go for our squats in 30 seconds. Again, full length here, all the way down, booty to the floor, to the point where you don't lose tension. Heels should be down the entire time. Squat wedges, you can find those. Easy Google search, you can look up yoga wedges. You're always gonna make sure that your ball of your foot stays on the ground in those. You don't want it to be maybe all the way up the wedge at first, at least until you feel really comfortable with bearing weight forward and your knees going forward. This should not hurt your knees. It is not bad for your knees to go forward in your squat. In fact, it's quite optimal. Let's hit your 5 reps. 3, 2, and 1. Bells come down, shake out the bod. We're gonna take that 30-second intermission, 30-second rest break. Honestly, I don't like calling it a rest break sometimes because it doesn't feel that much like we're really resting, right? We're kind of chilling in this position, but we're staying alert. We're keeping our body warm, keeping our body moving. You have 3 reps coming up for the next set. We're gonna hit those ones together in less than 10 seconds. So if you got that 10-second warning, I want you to start thinking about getting your butt down as soon as you clean the bells. Bells are here. You're not kind of standing around chilling thinking about it. I want you to practice getting into that squat formation as soon as you can do it. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. So I'm moving, getting those squats working. It's really important when your bells start to get heavy for you that you're not just chilling in these positions. You've got to be moving and kind of working through these positions fast. You don't want to waste energy just kind of holding onto your weights and waiting to make the movement happen. Get into the movement as fast as you can, as efficiently as you can. Okay, let's go ahead and hit our last set of 2 here in round 3. Here we go. Or I should say our only set of 2 in round 3. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. I wanted to say our last set of 2 of class, but unfortunately, that's not the case quite yet. Little thing that happens to me when I squat, I sometimes hit my elbows on my legs because I can squat pretty low with these. That's another proponent of lifting them a little bit. If you feel like you're kind of hitting, maybe widen your stance a little, or just try that little boop, bringing them up, sort of like you're front racking a barbell. That's exactly what it would be like this. Again, not here in front of you, and that might help with that. Okay, let's go ahead and get prepped to get into those presses. Round 3, you're gonna try to hit your 5 reps. Shake your feet out, shake your legs out, shake your arms out. 10 seconds. I want you to pop up those 5 and 5 with a weight that you could press 7 if you absolutely had to. Here we go. Body is a plank. Start once you rack. 3, 2, and 1. I'm in that rack. I squeeze my butt immediately. Look up, breathe out. Pull it down, bring it down in front of you. Let's go ahead and hit that same thing again. Hips go back. Opposite side. We rack, we push. Should be a bell that feels challenging, but that you feel confident moving here. We're going for about 20 minutes of movement in this set here. So this class, again, could be 20 to maybe 30, depending on how much time that you take for rest or deciding how many rounds works for you for the set. So just keep that in mind here. Really strong warm up, followed by that about 20 minutes of work. Let's hit your single arm swings right away. Booties are tight here. Clock is on 3, 2, and 1. Have some courage to make this part really fast. See how quick you can move your hips. If you practice getting your hips up as quickly as you can, guess what?
swings get easier. We also have to practice finding this position here versus this position here or this position here. We gotta set our butts back a little bit, move our weight into our heels, and as we stand, it kind of comes forward into the fronts of our feet. So we're doing a little bit of a rocking motion in our feet without our feet actually rocking. Okay, guys, we have one more round to do. I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds from here to take a pause, and then we're gonna pop through these reps. We're gonna spend the next 5 or so minutes going through our sets. I'm gonna push you a little bit on these squats. We're gonna set them down, and we're not gonna take a lot of time before we re-rack them and go into the 3-2 set. Strong presses, strong swings. You guys are out of here for your set today. Nice old squat and push formation. Your next session in order, if you're following along with the program here, is going to be more of a cardio set with some upper body work. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get ready for these squats. 5 reps last time. 3, 2, and 1. Feet come out if you need to move them. Bells come to the floor. Make sure your booty is dropping with those kettlebells when you set them down. We don't want to strain our low backs as we are moving our weight. We have your 3 reps coming up. I'm going to give you 10 seconds here. I'm going to hit those 3, then we're going to hit those 2. Roll the shoulders back one more time. Gaze is straight ahead. Let's go ahead and bring your bells up. 3, 2, and 1. Bells come to the floor. Take that rest break. Hips come slightly down. We have those 2 reps left. 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Hang on with me for this last little bit, and then we will move into our last, finally get to say it, 2 squats of our set today. Shoulders roll. Let's get that breath in. Hinge your hips back. Pull those bells up. 3, 2, 1. Bells come down towards the floor. Take that rest break. We have your presses coming up. We're gonna go for these about 20 seconds from right now. 20 seconds from right now. 5 and 5. It's okay if you're a little bit out of breath for this one. That's great. You're at the end of your session. You should be feeling like you've accomplished something by about this point. You've got a lot of reps in a decent amount of time, or it's kind of borderline a short amount of time. All good there. We're working through it together. Here we go. Let's pick that bell up. Hit your 5 and 5 each side. 3, 2, and 1. If you were to switch sides through a hand-to-hand swing, you just want to make sure that that clean is nice and tight. You're hugging it into your body. You're not starting with your hand out here. You're not starting with it here. You finish the entire pull, and then you bring your bell up. So pulling it down to the rack, bringing it up. Finish those last few reps, and we just have one more set of our single arm swings to do. And then we are done with, I'm saying like under 30-minute classes for this set. Some are gonna air more towards 20, some are gonna be closer to 30, and you're gonna get a solid set out of it no matter what you choose or where you're at. But I have to say, pay attention to some of the upgrades in the sessions for advanced people, because these can get pretty hard if you really challenge yourself with weight and maybe some different equipment changes if you have gym access. Okay, last 5 swings. We are finished with our session today. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Switch in the air. And rest. Whew, finish up those 5. This session is going to build as we move through this program, so just get ready for that. Always a variation of a squat, mixture of a swing and a push. Will change as the program unfolds, will increase in reps or change in tempo as the program unfolds. Always a good idea to read over the program before you show up to class. You know what you're getting in for. Again, I'm Lacey. I will see you in your next session. Remember, get real, get strong. Bells up.
Bye.